yeah? Okay, good boy. Hi, welcome in. My name is Rachel. If you don't know, hi. If you do know, awesome. There's a reminder for you. So, for those of you who don't know, which by now most of you should know, I work in the apartment industry. I'm a leasing consultant / assistant manager. Haven't officially got the title yet, but I'm doing the things of an assistant manager. Anyways, there are a lot of goings on in the apartment world, and when you deal with people's like living situations, you get the worst side of people. Like, I have a very wide range of customer service in my job history, and so, you know, I've seen it all, and don't get me wrong, there are some terrible motherfuckers in the restaurant industry. Like, that is some of the worst, but when you work where somebody fucking lives, that just brings out the absolute worst in people, because, you know, it's where all their stuff is, and they feel a certain sort of way. They feel a certain sort of way about things, and they can be sweet as pie when they move in and they're signing the paperwork and doing all that, but then afterwards they just like flip. It's fucking weird, and like, you can't trust anybody, and it's so fucking strange, but that's also why you can't be friends with anybody, because it's like, A is, you know, against fair housing, but oh my god, I'm getting ahead of myself. So if you have me on Snapchat, at tickle, then you've most likely heard these stories before, but I wanted to tell them on here for those of you that don't have Snapchat or follow me on there, whatever is the deal. Because there have been some more interesting people that have come out of the woodworks. I did another video about apartment people. It's called like Apartment People Are Wacko or something. And I told the stories of a couple of like crazy people, but there have been more since then. And so I just wanted to talk about those. And it's not just the apartment people, like the ones that live here, that are crazy. So the first thing I want to talk about is your customer service voice. If you have any sort of customer service background, it is likely that you have developed a separate voice that is specifically for customers, because like, they are very, very sensitive, and you must speak with like an appropriate tone in order to get any sort of positive interaction. The voice that you're hearing me speak in right now, this is my regular speaking voice, but my customer service voice, it goes up a little bit, and I have to make sure that I smile so that it sounds like I'm very positive, and there's no like way that you could interpret me as rude, because like, I'm just sweet as pie, making sure I'm communicating very clearly, not using any sort of an accent that might trigger somebody. And you know, it just makes people feel very comfortable, and like, I'm listening to them, and like, it's a positive experience, and I've gotten very good at that voice. This person that called, there's absolutely no way that I came off. Like, I understand the Aries part of me that makes me seem very aggressive, and I am very direct, and I have been told before that I am rude, but that's mostly outside of the surface industry where I'm using my regular voice and just not giving a fuck. But I am extremely careful about how I sound to people when I am at work, because I know how I can come off. I am very, very self-aware, and I hate it when people, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this bitch called to get rental verification on some people that live here that have not put in proper notice. That's also another, it'll lead into that. And she called to get verification over the phone, and I hadn't received any sort of like written authorization, and I can't just release information over the phone like that. So when she asked for it, I very politely said to her, yeah, I can absolutely give you that. I just need to have the written authorization, so you can either fax or email over the written authorization, and I'd be more than happy to release that information to you. That is what I said, and that is how I said it. Cut to 2 minutes before I am about to close, and I get another phone call from this person, because she didn't obtain the email or anything before. She just like hung up because I guess she thought I was rude. Hey, shut up. You just went outside and you don't need food because I just fed you. So 2 minutes before close, she calls and she's like, yeah, so I spoke to you earlier trying to get rental verification, and I just wanted to know if I could get the email. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And I gave her the email address, and after I gave her the email address, she goes, and I just want you to know that you were extremely rude to me earlier when we were on the phone. And I, even though I know that I wasn't, all right, perception is reality, so you have to swallow your pride and just apologize to appease people. So I was like, I'm very sorry if, you know, I came off as rude. That definitely isn't what I intended. I was just trying to let you know that I needed the written authorization before I could release any information about our tenants. That's, you know, that's it. I wasn't intending to be rude, so I'm very sorry. And she didn't like that answer because I guess she wanted there to be a little bit of conflict. And so she tells me that, well, I'm just letting you know so that for the future you can learn from this. And I fucking hate it when people try to teach me things. Like, I just want you to know for the future that you're a bitch. So you need to work on that. Like, you don't know me, and I understand if you felt offended, but I apologize, and I apologize in an appropriate way. And so you don't need to get up on your high horse and tell me that I'm rude, when actually you were rude to me. You were pretty fucking rude, because when I wouldn't release the information to her, she was like, she's gonna catch a fair housing suit, because if she, you know, was trying to get rental verification over the phone from me without me having the authorization, just trusting that she's who she says she is, you can't fucking trust anybody. Are you kidding me? Everybody's a goddamn liar. Oh my God, I hate people so fucking much. So if she thinks that I would give her that, that means that people have probably called her for rental verification, and she's probably given it to them over the phone without any written authorization. And if somebody fucking wanted to send her to court and sue her ass, like, they could, and she could lose her job. So that was like the first thing where I'm like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I apologized to her, and like my parents were in the office because they were here. This was like, this was on Friday, and so they had come to the office the last 30 minutes because it was a super, super slow day. So they were just hanging out in the office with me. So they witnessed this phone call. And so after I got off the phone with her, my dad was like, what was that? And so I told him the situation. He's like, your response was really good. Like, you handled that really well. Some people just can't be appeased. A tip to anybody who thinks that they're like showing somebody whenever they leave like a snarky note on a receipt, or they want to call and tell somebody that they were rude. Like, honey, baby, darling, sweethearts, just stop. And if somebody like apologizes to you, don't keep fucking going unless they did something absolutely horrendous to you. But just having like a sort of tone that you don't like, just, it's not worth it, all right? You don't need to call and tell me that I was extremely rude and you need to learn for the future, because you don't know me. We've only had that one interaction. Like, chill the fuck out. So after I apologized to her and she didn't like it and she told me that I needed to learn, I was done with the conversation and it was time for me to leave. So I was like, okay, I'll look out for that email tomorrow. You have a good day. Bye-bye. And I hung up on her. Like, that was the rudest that I was to her. Was I'm not gonna like put up with your bullshit if you're just gonna keep coming at me. It's like, I'm gonna remove my customer service voice and be like, fuck off, but in a professional kind of way. So that was the annoying thing, number one. Those tenants that she was trying to get rental verification on, oh my God. So we give people between the 1st and the 10th or 11th of the month, depending on how many days there are in a month, to renew their lease or give us notice, because they are required by law to give us a 20-day written notice if they intend to vacate. And so if there are 30 days in the month and you give us notice on the 11th, we can't accept it, because that is a 19-day notice and you've got to go through the rest of the month and then put in notice next month and probably be on month to month or whatever it is. And that's just how it works. I can't make any exceptions for people because that is fair housing. If I make an exception for one person, I have to make them for everybody, and then there would be no point to, excuse me, sir. No, not for you. You have this. He's at the age now where he's getting my clothes. He just took my sneaker when I was brushing my teeth and everything. I came out and he was in his kennel and he had my fucking sneaker in the kennel with him. And then I walked out into the living room and my boyfriend's underwear was sitting on the floor there by the table because he had gotten those from the dirty clothes pile, and he's been stealing socks. And so like I was sitting on the bed last night and I looked and he's like jumping up on our laundry pile trying to get socks, and he's like hoarding socks. You getting your terrible twos, bud. He's fucking 3 months old. And you're terrible. You're terrible. You're really smart and really sweet, but sometimes you're terrible. So these tenants need to give us notice. And they emailed my boss asking her for an extension on signing their lease because they weren't sure what lease term they wanted to sign because her husband's job, something was going to be happening with it, and so they might be moving at the end of the year. That is important. At the end of the year, okay? They were asking for an extension on the length of lease that they wanted to sign. And so my boss responded to them, okay, I can push that out until Saturday, because if you're renewing, we can extend it a couple of days because you're not putting in notice. So no, absolutely not. You have your rope right here. You cannot have my shirt. Anyways, so she gave them an extension on the renewal so that they could pick the lease term that they wanted to sign because they needed a couple more days to think about it. And in that email, she said, because this was on the 11th, she said, just so you know, if you are intending to vacate, the last day to put in notice is today. We have that in email, in writing. And then she like responded back and she was like, just more the story of just needing time to think about what lease you want. At no point in those emails did she say that she intended to vacate at the end of July. It was all saying that she needed to do it at the end of the year, maybe, but they need to know what lease length to sign. So they were thinking about it. And so my boss made sure to tell me, because she's been on vacation. I've only seen her like once in the past like 3 weeks because she keeps going on vacation, and then I went on vacation and now she's on another vacation. So I clarified with her to make sure that they had not put in notice because of this email, and she was like, no, they haven't, and if they try to, like, I gave them an extension on the renewal, not on the notice. Like, they can't. They'd have to go month to month or re-sign a lease. And so I was like, okay, I won't back down then if they try to put in their notice. And so they emailed me to give me the go-ahead to release their rental verification to the people, to that rude bitch that had called me, which I had already done because she emailed me the rental verification stuff. And when she sent me the email, there was 4 questions that she asked, and I could only answer one of them per policy. And so I responded to her and I answered that question. I said, per policy, this is the only question that I can answer. Also, you should know they haven't given us proper notice and they owe rent for August. And so when the resident sent me the email to release that information to them, I emailed her back going, I have already done that, thank you. Just so you know, if you are intending to vacate, the deadline to put in your notice was Thursday. And she replied, I love it when people are snarky, but they're wrong. So she replied, I got an extension from your boss, so if you have any questions about that, you can direct it to her. I have those emails if you'd like them. Now, the email that I'm emailing her from is the property email address, so we have access. All of us have access to it, so like I've seen these emails and I have complete access to them. I don't need her to send me copies of these emails, but I understand that not everybody understands that. And so I responded to her and I said, I have those emails. I don't need you to send them to me. And I've already spoken to my boss about this situation. And you were given an extension on your renewal for what lease term you wanted to sign, but not on the notice. And she keeps like arguing this and saying that no, she got an extension, and if I have any questions to direct it to my boss. And so I sent her a snippet of the email and I highlighted the part that said if you're putting in notice, the last day is today. And then she sends me, she's like, this is the last response that I got from your boss. And it said, no worries, let us know on Saturday. Because after she had responded to the email giving us that second sob story, my boss just reiterated, no worries, just let us know on Saturday. Meaning, what lease term you want to sign. Because that is what the entire conversation was about. At no point did she give us any indication that she was thinking about putting in her notice for this month. She was only asking what lease, like she was only asking for an extension so she could figure out what lease term she wanted to sign so that she wouldn't have to break her lease in 6 months if she signed longer than 6 months. That's what it was. And so she kept insisting that she got an extension on the notice, and then she kept saying that we have she said, well, this reflects poorly on your business morals, that you would go back on your word. And what's the most stomach turning part is that you had to clarify with your boss about what the meaning of this email was, because I told her that I had already talked to my boss about it, which just literally just asking if she had put in notice. And I told her, once again, I did not have to clarify anything with my boss other than the fact that you, in fact, did not put in notice. But it is very clear that that email was about the extension of your renewal, not the notice. And like, she just is so fucking pissed off. She's like, well, consider us month to month then, blah, blah, blah. But like, people, you need to be so careful with what you say in emails and stuff, and like, make sure you get everything super clarified. Like, if she had responded back to that email of no worries, just let us know what you do on Saturday with, so just to clarify, if I need to put in notice, I can do that on Saturday, then we could have been like, no. But again, nowhere in any of those emails did she say that she was going to put in notice. She only said that they might move at the end of the year. So I told her, I was like, look, I understand that this is not the response that you wanted. Here are your options. And I listed her options, but she can go month to month and put in notice in August between the 1st and the 11th. But she'd have to pay the month-to-month rate. She can sign a short-term lease and find somebody to take over her lease, and we can do it that way. She can go month to month and put in her notice for August, but she can give us keys if she's moving out in July. That way we can get the apartment ready sooner and have it re-rented. So she'll pay the rent for August, but then if somebody moves in August, we can't charge double rent. So then she'd be refunded the rent from whatever day the new person moves in. And the earlier she turns in keys, the earlier we can, hey, what are you doing over there? Hey. What are you doing over there? I don't like that sniffing and spinning around. Don't you poop on my floor. You already pooped. But yeah, we can't charge double rent. So the earlier she turns in keys, the earlier we can get it rented. And I let her know that I can't guarantee that it will be rented. Of course, it is pretty guaranteed, because as soon as something becomes available, like, we have a wait list and it gets rented right the fuck away. So that was really fucking annoying, and I can't wait to talk to her in person about that, because I'm sure she's gonna come in and fucking yell at me. I love getting yelled at for literally doing my job. And she used the word unacceptable. I fucking love it when people say that shit is unacceptable. It's like, it's a legal contract. Like, just because you say something is unacceptable doesn't mean that I can fucking change anything about it. And in my head, so she keeps saying that it's unacceptable that we did this and we did this and whatever, when we were completely within our legal rights and the communication to do so. And, you know, she says it's unacceptable for us to go back on our word. Well, bitch, I think it's unacceptable that you would ask me to put my job on the line to make a fair housing exception for you. I could lose my fucking job, because if somebody found out that we gave her an extension to put in her notice, but we wouldn't give them an extension, that's discrimination, and I can lose my fucking job over that, okay? You people need to think about these things whenever you're going off on somebody. Like, there are fucking policies and laws and shit. Like, we're not doing it to be a dickhead, all right? We're doing it because we want to keep our fucking jobs, and this is the law, and this is how we have to do things, okay? We're not monsters. We just, like, you signed a legal fucking contract. I don't know what to tell you. Oh man. So that shit's annoying. There's this other resident here who has ran off 3 of her neighbors that have moved in above her because she's a horrible fucking bitch, and she will like go and like bang on their door and like scream at them for the smallest fucking noise, and like outside of quiet hours, like if people are just existing in their apartment, she'll go up and like scream and yell at them. And her husband and her daughter both speed through the parking lot, and we've had so many complaints, and they've like hit people before, and just they're just terrible fucking people. Oh, and she's such a fucking bitch. So we have a small little closet in my office to hold packages. And around the holidays, we get a lot of fucking packages. And so my office is pretty much just a storage room, and I have to like find my way to my desk to be able to work in there. And so like at Christmas time, when we had a bunch of boxes in there, I went through them and I emailed everybody that had a package, and I said, hey guys, you know, it's the holidays, everybody is ordering packages, so we don't have enough space to keep these packages in the office. You have 1 or more packages in the office. And I prefaced the email with this was because I blind copied everybody just on one email, and so it said this was sent to everybody that had a package. You know, if you could please come pick them up by this date, just so we can have space in our office for packages, because we might not be able to accept packages anymore. And she didn't respond to the email, but she caught my boss out behind the office, and she goes, how dare you tell me to come pick up my package? I'll pick up my package whenever I damn well please. Don't you ever fucking tell me to come get my packages. Like, that's how she spoke to my fucking boss. Like, this lady, she's sweet as pie until she doesn't get what she wants, or like something is disagreeable to her, and then she is like the worst fucking bitch, and she thinks that she can get things by being a pain in the ass, which no, not gonna happen. And then when we had our Christmas party, everybody was like in the office, and so I closed and locked my office door so that nobody would get to the packages. And it's a good thing I did that too, because this bitch, when she came walking into the office, she saw that my door was closed, and then she leaned over to her daughter and was like, it's a good thing that door is locked, because if it wasn't, I would have filed a complaint with corporate. Like, she is always looking for trouble, and she is a horrid bitch. Oh my God, when Comcast was doing the rewire here on property, like, we notified, first of all, we sent out a heads up to everybody before the project even started, and then let them know that we would post their door 48 hours in advance, and those would be the dates, and we cannot reschedule them. We're on, like, they're not gonna come back if you can't let them in. Like, it's a mandatory thing, but you have all this notice. So people had like 2 months notice that we were going to start this project. And then whenever it came time to like do the buildings, they were doing 2 buildings at a time. And so I would go and post the doors, and I actually gave them like 72 hours notice. So they had even more time to prepare for this. And it said that they'll be working on these buildings on these dates. Please make sure that you clear the area. And I had such clear instructions. Like, I attached a map of everybody's floor plan, and even had it specific to like the apartment that like I was putting it through. Like, I didn't just attach all of the floor plans to each fucking door. Like, I was like, this apartment is this floor plan, so they get this one. And like, I was very, very detailed. And in the notice, I had it literally highlighted. If you do not have a jack in the marked location, just locate your jacks and clear the area. Or clear the area on the map where there's supposed to be one, if there's not one in there at all. And they'll be in the apartments this day or this day. We can't guarantee entry on a specific day, because it all depends on, you know, the weather and how quickly they can get through the buildings, and what obstacles they run into, where the box is on the outside of the fucking, it was a whole thing. And so she gets this notice, and she calls, and she's first just sweet as pie, just like, I was just wanting to see, you know, if we could have it rescheduled for Friday, because my daughter twisted her ankle. Her daughter that is 19 years old, so she's perfectly fine to be in the apartment when somebody enters if they're not home because she's not a minor. I understand being uncomfortable with leaving your teenage daughter home, but that's a different thing. She twisted her ankle and she can't walk, and so neither of us can be home, and I don't want her to be in the apartment with some strange men that I don't know, so if we could just reschedule that for Friday. If they couldn't get in on the first day, she wanted it to be rescheduled for Friday, so she wanted me to like tell her that it was guaranteed that they could enter her apartment that first day. And so I was like, you were given the notice that they would be in on this day or this day. I can't guarantee that they're coming in the first day because it depends on what obstacles they run into and all of this other stuff that I just talked about. And so if they can't enter on Wednesday, then they're going to enter on Thursday, but we can't reschedule for Friday. And then she snapped. She fucking flipped her switch and was like, no, that is absolutely unacceptable. They have to come in today, or else we're not letting them in tomorrow, and they have to come back on Friday. And I was like, no, we're not having them come back on Friday. They are not coming to the property on Friday. They're either going to enter today or tomorrow. We've given you plenty of notice. We gave everybody 2 months advance notice that this was happening, and then you actually got 72 hours notice. And then she was trying to tell me that we should have given them notice that they would be entering on the second day. And I said, on your notice, it literally says that. It says that they would be entering today or tomorrow, and it has all of that information. We cannot reschedule. We are coming into your apartment. And like, she kept calling back and like trying to like make up all these excuses of why she couldn't let them into the apartment, and then her main one being her daughter not being able to walk, and she doesn't want her to be home alone with these strange men. And I was like, okay, look, if this is your issue, that your daughter's home alone, your 19-year-old daughter who twisted her ankle can't hobble somewhere, I will go to your apartment and I will pick her up in the golf cart, and she can come hang out in the office until they're done, because they'll only be in your apartment for an hour maximum. So if that's your issue, I can come get her. So like, every single thing that she had an issue with, I was coming back with a fucking, here's the solution to all these things. And then whenever the Comcast guys actually got to the apartment, because they got there, they ended up being able to get there the first day, the husband came unglued and was screaming and yelling and cursing at the Comcast guy and like telling him that he said that it was guaranteed that they would be in the apartment, blah, 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 and they're having all these issues. And like, luckily the Comcast guys were cool and they didn't like beat this guy's ass, but these people cause us so many fucking problems, and they are just so entitled. Like, it is an apartment. It is not your house. You do not own it. We are allowed to enter your apartment without notice. We give you notice as a courtesy, but if we wanted, we could just come into your fucking apartment. Like, we don't need a fucking reason. Okay? We can do that. It's not your fucking house. You don't own this. You rent this space, and oh my God, there's just so much fun about that. So anyways, her lease is up at the end of August, and so when we were sending out renewals, we wanted to non-renew her, but corporate won't let us non-renew her. So what we can do is just, instead of offering her the option to do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12 months, we only offered her a 6-month renewal, so she can either do 6 months or month to month. And so she called me and she goes, I got the email for my renewal and I just wanted to know why I can't do a year lease. And I gave her some bullshit about corporate wanting us to get our lease end dates in a specific range, and unfortunately all we can offer her at this time is a 6-month lease. And she comes back with, I work for a management company and I know that you can always do a year lease. I was like, well, if you work for a management company, then you know that all management companies are different, and we are allowed to offer you something other than a year lease, and that is why we are only able to offer you a 6-month lease at this time. And she's like, I've lived here for 5 years and we've always done a year-long lease. So I'm like, I understand that, but unfortunately this time we can only offer you 6 months. You can do 6 months or you can go month to month, whichever works best for you. And she just was telling me that it's unacceptable, and she's like, so if I call corporate, they'll tell me the same thing. She's trying to call my bluff. And so I was like, yeah, if you call corporate, they're gonna tell you the same fucking thing. And she was like, well, I just wanted to know why it was that I couldn't do a year. And so hopefully, because she has until August 11th to you know, give us notice or renew or go month to month. And so hopefully she just puts in her notice and she leaves, because literally she has ran off 3 of her neighbors. Her neighbor that is there right now, we have them sending us emails every single time they do something crazy, and so we just constantly have things coming in for the paper trail so that we can build a case against them to eventually convince corporate to let us not renew them. And we should have been able to, because we do have enough evidence. She's costing us money, because every single time somebody breaks their lease and moves out of that apartment because they can't fucking stand them, we have to turn that apartment, and that costs money. And doing all the paperwork for the new people and all of that shit costs money, and you know, we have to advertise the apartment. And so she literally is costing us money, and so we should be able to non-renew her for that fact alone. And even if I sent her a non-renewal, we don't have to give her a reason. We can just say we're choosing to not renew your lease at this time, and we give them 60 days ahead of time. So, you know, whatever. So we'll see how that goes when August gets here. It's gonna be a good fucking time. This other gal that I leased an apartment to, she's lived here for a couple of months now. She had like a brain tumor, or she had a brain tumor and it got removed or whatever. So she like had a hard life, and it was through the application process and everything. Like, she was odd, but like not any more odd than anybody I've ever fucking met. Like, she gave me a hug whenever I gave her the keys to her apartment, because, you know, she was so happy that she had her apartment. And I think she has a drug problem. Since she has lived here, she's only been here for 2 months, she's lost about 20 pounds, and she looks sickly, and she'll wear sunglasses, and she like won't look you in the eye, and the way she talks is just kind of aggressive and defensive. And she has broken her fitness center key off in the lock 3 times because she doesn't put the key in all the way and tries to turn it so it snaps, and so we have to keep like fixing the lock and replacing the lock and everything. And she like puts it in other, like, there's a pool gate, but the pool gate is locked, and the way that you get into the pool is you go through the fitness center and go out into the door that's in there. And so she'll like try the key on that pool gate, and so she breaks the key off in there and everything, and she's twisted her keys. And so we've made her like 3 or 4 new fitness center keys, and we make sure that those keys work before we give it to her. Like, they're tested, they work. And so my boss tells me we're not giving her any more keys, so if she comes and asks for another key, don't give it to her. And so I was like, okay, don't worry, I won't. And the other day, she was like sitting out in her car in front of the office, like in this corner spot, for the longest time, and she wouldn't come in. And then I went out to go post notices at the mailboxes, because we're doing a pavement project here soon, and so I'm letting people know about it. And when I get in the golf cart, she gets out of her car, and she's dressed in swimwear, and she's got like a cover up on, but you could tell that she's like trying to go to the pool, and she's got her sunglasses, and she won't look me in the eye. And she walks up and she goes, there's supposed to be a key for me in the office for the fitness center, because mine doesn't work. And I told her, I was like, you know, we actually, you know, my boss let me know that we can't issue you any more keys because you keep breaking them, so I'm very sorry. Like, I can let you in, but we're not going to issue you any more keys. We are switching to this fob system in the next couple of weeks, so you'll get a keyless fob, so this won't be an issue anymore. But I unfortunately cannot issue you any more keys. We're not going to give them to you. And she's like, but the keys don't work, so like, what the hell is that about? And I was like, they actually do work. We make sure to test them. It's, you know, you've broken several of them, and we can't give you more keys. And she goes, well, I want a rent discount then. And it's fucking hilarious to me when something goes wrong and people think that we could like give them a rent discount because a minor thing fucking happens. And whenever I go over the lease with people, we get to the amenities section, and I say, now just so you know, the amenities are a revocable privilege. They are not a right in your lease. We reserve the right to revoke your privileges if you abuse or misuse the facilities. I say that to every single person. And so I told her, I was like, you know, I can't offer you a rent discount. We went over this when we signed your lease, that the amenities are not a right. They are a revocable privilege, and so I cannot offer you a discount. And she was like, you didn't say that. We didn't go over that. And I started saying again, yes, we did. And she's like, you don't have to get defensive. And I was like, okay, I'm not getting defensive. Again, I can let you in, but we can't give you any more keys. And then she like switches the subject, and she had a small balance due because she like didn't pay her utilities. And so I gave her a note in her door saying you need to pay this. And she's like, well, I got a note saying that I had to pay $30, and do I give that check to you or right now, or is there somewhere that I can put it? I was like, well, there's a drop box there. So you can just put it through there. And she was like, and that's safe? And I was like, yeah, it's a locked box that goes into my office, so it's just outside the front door. You can just go put it in there. She was like, okay. And then she like walked away to go get the check or whatever, and she never turned in the check. I checked the Dropbox later, and it wasn't there. It wasn't in either of the ones that we have. So it's sad because it seems like she's having an issue with drugs, but like also she's one of those ones that was sweet as pie and everything during the whole process of leasing her the apartment, and now she's asking for rent discounts because she keeps breaking the fucking keys off in her locks. So it's just a little fucking crazy. Oh, and then there's this resident that's lived here for a while who I don't know everybody. I've only been here since October, so I don't know every single person because they don't come into the office all that often. This fucking guy walked into the office one day and just goes, my toilet's broken, and turns around and walks away. Like, and I was like, wait, hi, what apartment are you in? And he goes, 74, and then turns around and walks away. And I'm like, okay, wait, hold on. I need you. I need more information. Like, there was probably 6 or 7, like, wait, hold on, please, like, stop leaving so I can get this fucking information from you. I hate it when people just expect me to know who the fuck they are, and they're super like annoyed when I don't know who they are. It's like, look, I know who a lot of our residents are because they come to the office. I have to deal with them a lot, but if you never show your fucking face and I didn't lease the apartment to you, I'm not gonna know who you are unless you let me know. And that's not something to get mad at me about because we have 206 apartments here. You expect me to know all 206 tenants, and there are, you know, there's not just one person per apartment. We have 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. There are families that fucking live here. So, you know, I can't memorize everybody. So that was just so fucking irritating because my toilet's broken. Okay, well, what apartment are you in? What's broken about your toilet? Do you have more than one toilet, or is this considered an emergency because you only have one toilet? And like, he was just super irritated that I was trying to get this information from him so that I could determine if this was a fucking emergency and like how to get his toilet fixed as efficiently as possible. And oh my god, it was just so fucking irritating. So yeah, those are just a few more things that have happened. People are fucking crazy. Listen, if you live in an apartment or you're just dealing with anybody, don't be a fucking dickhead, all right? If you're not getting your way, it's probably because there's a rule or a law that they cannot like make an exception for you, and your apartment managers are not out to fucking get you. Now, I will say there are definitely exceptions to every rule. So, you know, if you feel like you're being discriminated against, fucking document everything. Get everything in writing. Document every single interaction you have with them, like, so you can build a case if there's a legitimate case there. But if you work for an apartment complex and you call to get rental verification on somebody and they politely say that they can't release that information over the phone and want you to send the authorization, we're protecting your information. We can't just let people know about who lives here. Like, if somebody calls and asks if so-and-so lives at our apartment complex, I cannot tell them that information. When people come on tours and they ask me what kind of people live here, is it a couple? Are there kids? Do you have, are there this kind of whatever here? I cannot answer that question because it is discriminatory and I'm not allowed to release information. You wouldn't want me to release information about you to somebody, some random person that's fucking asking for it, would you? So don't ask those questions. Like, I understand that not everybody knows that world. Before I was in the apartment world, I did not know that you couldn't ask what type of people, like, are there a lot of old people? Are there a lot of kids that live here? Like, we can't fucking answer that, and we can't release any information about anybody that lives there. It's fucking illegal, so please stop getting mad at me when I can't answer your stupid ass fucking questions. I cannot believe that I forgot to tell this story while I was recording this video, so here's a little inserted fucking thing. Wow, I just got the snarkiest voicemail from one of our entitled ass residents. Wait till you hear this shit. This bitch called yesterday to see if there was a package for her here in the office because the postal service delivered it here instead of to her front door as she requested. And so I told her that we open at 10 a.m. and she said that she would be here first thing to get it, but also asked when we closed just in case, you know, she needed to get here later. And so I was like, awesome, she'll be here first thing in the morning. Well, she wasn't here first thing in the morning, and 12 o'clock rolls around and I'm hungry. I'm a human. I get a lunch break, a 30-minute lunch break on the weekends. So I went back to my apartment to eat my lunch. I was gone for 30 minutes. There's a little clock in my boss's office right here on the door where I posted the time that I would return. Okay? 12:30. Apparently, that's when she came to try to get her package. And then our maintenance guy locked his fucking keys in that office. And so he was just sitting out here waiting for me to return. And she asked him where I was. And he said he had no idea. Bro, we go to lunch the same exact time every single fucking day. We post that clock every single fucking day. That's where your keys are locked. So you have to look at that to get into that door. You have no idea where I am or when I'm gonna be back. Anyways, listen to this fucking voicemail.
Yesterday about a package that should have been delivered to my door that's now stuck in your office. I'm here to pick it up, and there's nobody here except some guy who says he doesn't have access to your office where the packages are. So if somebody could give me a call back so that I don't keep making futile trips up here to get a package, that would be great. Area code.
So that I don't keep making futile trips to the office, that would be great. And I called her back and I was like, I was under the impression you were going to be here in the morning. She's like, that's why I asked when you close. I'm like, all right, great. Well, I was at lunch. I'm really sorry. There was a clock there. It was posted. And she was like, well, are you going to be there for a while or am I not going to be able to get my package? Like, bitch, what's in this package that you need so badly? She still hasn't showed up and it's been about 10 minutes since I got off the phone with her and she said she was coming right away. So I don't know when she's going to show up. I kind of hope I get a tour so that I can lock the office again and then she can't get her package and she can be even more upset. Entitled fucking bitch. Oh shit, a tour totally came in. The girl hasn't come yet and she just went out to like tell her friend that she's going on a tour, so oh man, I hope she comes to pick up her package. So I took the package and I put it behind the door because I was about to go on tour and I wanted her to be able to like pick it up, and she came in while the other girl was outside like talking to her friend, and she was like, I'm here for my package. And I was like, oh, I put it right there behind the door because I was about to go on tour and I didn't want you to make another futile trip to the office. So yeah, and I'm sure I'm gonna have more videos with more stories in the future because there is never a dull fucking moment in apartment leasing, and I seriously love it. Like, there are people that will get in this industry and then immediately want to get out of it because they just can't handle it, or that they become super jaded because of, you know, the shit that people come in and say. And I actually like thrive on it because I like confrontation and I like being able to shut people down, but not in like an aggressive or abusive way. Like, I like being able to just like come back at people with facts, and I don't resort to anger, and my voice is super calm and I just try to like reason with people, and I love being able to like just shut these angry ass entitled ass motherfuckers down just with, I'm very sorry, you know, that wasn't my intention. I just, you know, I'm doing my job. That's it. And it gives me stories to be able to tell people. I can rant on my Snapchat, which is one of my favorite things to do. If you add me on Snapchat, or if you want to add me on Snapchat, just a heads up, I either like don't post anything or it's a 10-minute long Snapchat because like some shit just went down and I need to tell you the whole entire fucking story. Okay? That is how I operate. But yeah, don't be a fucking dick to people because you don't know what rules that they have to fucking follow. You catch more honeys with flies. Catch more flies with honey is all I'm fucking saying. So, yeah, those have been crazy apartment people, and there will definitely be more stories in the future. And hopefully you fucking like this. And yeah, fucking my puppy is passed out on the floor. Love ya. Subscribe, and I'll be back next week. Okay. Love you. See you later. Bye. Oh God. Oh, he just peed outside in his little pee-pee. Ew, 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 ew. Don't worry, I'm not just completely set myself on fire after this video. I just got dog pee on me a little bit because it was on his little wee-wee. Yeah, now you're licking it off. That was unpleasant. What, bud? If I let you out there, you're gonna get things that you're not supposed to have. Where are you trying to go? Yeah, stay there.